You know, I used to think it was the Obama administration, but boy, Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. I felt like he's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change.
Wow, how could Trump, equivocate on this whole thing? And then it took just a little bit of digging, just a little bit, because all you have to do is extend the clip 45 seconds.
Yeah. Joe Rogan has now shifted his focus toward former President Barack Obama, arguing that the foundations of Obama's legacy may not be as solid as many once believed. When Obama first ran for the White House, he energized voters with a message that blended identity, generational change, and a powerful personal narrative that resonated across the country. Years later, Kamala Harris attempted to lean into a similar strategy, but this time the results were dramatically different. Rogan contends that the political collapse surrounding that approach can be traced back to the original blueprint, and he lays out his reasoning using clips and commentary to support his perspective. According to Rogan, understanding what happened requires revisiting where it all began.
We did trust the government, but which is such a weird thing to say. You know, I used to think it was the Obama administration, but boy, Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. I felt like he's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You know, you think you're going to do something, and then you get into office, and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump, the thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist, which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017.
Joe Rogan reflected on a period when he says he took Barack Obama's words at face value during a heated election cycle, and he insists he wasn't alone. He argues that a significant portion of Americans moved forward trusting the dominant narrative that was repeated constantly in political discourse. During that time, harsh labels were widely applied to Donald Trump. Terms like authoritarian, racist, and extremist were repeated so frequently that they began to feel less like accusations and more like established conclusions. Rogan suggests that repetition played a powerful role in shaping public perception before many voters had independently evaluated the claims. In his view, once that framing took hold, dissent became socially risky. Questioning the narrative often meant being grouped with it. Looking back, Rogan describes the episode as a lesson in how quickly mass opinion can be influenced when influential voices speak with certainty and media amplification follows without hesitation.
Yeah. You know, I think it worked back then. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. I think that we've gotten numb to all this stuff.
Well, it's the sky is falling thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you cry wolf or whatever. It's like, you guys can only call me a fascist so many times.
Today, Rogan argues that far fewer people accept those earlier characterizations without scrutiny, and he believes that erosion of trust contributed significantly to voter shifts. After years of dramatic rhetoric and urgent warnings, many voters began noticing repetition without what they considered proportional evidence. Rogan says the same sweeping claims resurfaced election after election, yet some citizens felt their lived reality did not align with the alarm. What initially sounded compelling gradually began to feel exaggerated to some audiences. Rogan frames this shift as skepticism turning into resistance. He suggests that many voters interpreted the messaging not as sincere warning, but as political strategy. In his telling, recent elections represented a broader rejection of what some perceived as fear-driven campaigning. For Rogan, the story is less about one candidate and more about growing distrust toward institutional narratives and coordinated messaging.
She also has been saying something really crazy. She's been saying that this is the closest race of the 21st century and that it wasn't a mandate. That's just not true.
It's not true.
Gore and Bush was much closer.
Yes.
I think that was a 0.5%.
I don't know why she keeps saying this.
It's just a lie. And then also she's leaving out the fact that she lost every swing state. Every single one.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you talking about?
I know. It's
he
crazy.
won the popular vote, and he won the Electoral College vote,
man.
and that's a mandate.
I
like,
think
say that it's not a mandate. It's like But it's almost like if you say it to the converted that they're going to listen and repeat it. Yeah, he barely won.
Right.
Like, no, he won.
Yeah.
He won every swing state.
Rogan also suggests that Democratic leadership, including Kamala Harris and the Democratic National Committee, may still be processing the scale of their electoral defeat. He argues that decisive losses can be difficult for any political movement to absorb. Losing is painful. Losing convincingly is humbling. Yet Rogan emphasizes that discomfort does not change outcomes. In his view, acknowledging defeat openly is often the first step toward rebuilding credibility. Recovery, he argues, requires reflection, accountability, and strategic recalibration. Ignoring voter dissatisfaction or dismissing criticism outright only deepens the divide. Rogan frames the moment as an opportunity for honest introspection. Political reinvention, he suggests, cannot begin without confronting where messaging failed and why segments of the electorate turned away. For him, the lesson is simple. Denial delays recovery. Humility accelerates it.
I think she took credit for the no tax on tips things in the book as well.
That's hilarious because that was clearly his.
Clearly.
He said it first and they
Clearly.
copied it.
It's amazing.
Did she really say that in the book?
I haven't read it, but I have heard from someone who did read it that she did. So people.
She had
an
address not coming on here in the book too, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Rogan then addressed Kamala Harris's attempt to highlight support for a no tax on tips proposal. He argued that the concept, as it gained national prominence, was first championed publicly by Donald Trump during campaign messaging. Rogan claims voters were aware of that timeline and noticed the shift in framing. To him, the situation reflected a broader pattern of narrative repositioning common in election cycles. Political campaigns frequently adapt messaging, but Rogan contends that voters increasingly track those changes in real time. According to him, when audiences perceive inconsistency, it damages trust more than disagreement ever could. What frustrated Rogan, he says, is not policy debate itself, but what he interprets as selective ownership after the fact.
Her team was not truthful about that encounter at all. They never committed to doing the show, ever.
Yeah.
They said that, I said that I had a personal day, which is not true. I said I am not available the day that Trump was here. I said that day's not. I didn't say that I was have a personal day. They just made that up.
That's crazy.
And then they also said that they sent someone here to go through the studio, like sent someone to do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
Not true.
No.
Not true.
Dude. How can they? I mean, it's just you repeat it and you say it and your side believes it.
But
and you move
why
on.
would they do that when I can
don't
just
know.
say that's not true?
It's bizarre.
Rogan also pushed back on claims surrounding a proposed podcast interview with Harris that ultimately never occurred. At the time, reports circulated suggesting scheduling conflicts were responsible. Rogan now disputes portions of that narrative, saying the situation was more complicated than initially portrayed. He suggests that instead of acknowledging logistical breakdowns, public messaging simplified the explanation. For Rogan, this became another example of political communication prioritizing optics. He argues that transparency in moments like this matters, especially when public trust is already fragile. Whether intentional or not, he believes that perception management often backfires when audiences later hear conflicting accounts.
I'm not. Why would I lie? I have no reason to lie.
So bizarre. It would have been interesting to.
If I her over, I would tell the truth.
Yeah.
If I was like, we lied, we told her I
wrong.
was taking a personal day, but realized I wanted to get Trump in. Not true. I tried to do both of them in the same day.
Oh,
that was
wow.
my idea.
That would have been
My
amazing.
idea was to do Trump during the day, and then her to come. She had a thing she was doing in Houston. After the thing with Houston, I go, I'll do it at midnight. I don't care. We'll do it whenever you want to do it.
Yeah.
While you're in Texas, but I just can't do during the day because
Right.
Trump's going to be here.
Yeah.
But they had to have known. I mean, the Secret Service there was 200 guys here. They had
In Texas.
in this studio.
No.
There was
For Trump,
200
for Trump.
people here for
Yeah,
Trump.
for Trump. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not exaggerating. It was packed.
Wow.
Some observers speculated that Harris may have been cautious about appearing on Rogan's platform, known for its long, unscripted format. Rogan's interviews frequently stretch beyond 3 hours, featuring extended follow-ups and open-ended discussion. Unlike tightly structured television segments, his show does not rely on pre-approved question lists or significant editing. That format can be both an opportunity and a risk for public officials. Rogan's audience values spontaneity and detailed answers. In contrast, traditional broadcast interviews often condense responses into shorter clips. Rogan suggests that authentic conversation reveals preparation, depth, and command of detail. In his view, lengthy discussion tests messaging in ways shorter appearances do not.
Someone had to know something that he was here.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a mystery. But I
Bring
said,
the dogs through.
but I wasn't trying to be deceptive. I said, I'll do it later.
Right.
I just can't do it during this time.
That's the excuse they took.
They want to do
That's
it.
like, okay, they took that excuse.
They never
because,
wanted to do the
no,
whole thing.
Never.
They wanted to do like a 45-minute thing in a different place. They didn't say scripted, but they did say that there were some things that she didn't want to talk about. And then they denied that.
Yeah. That's what I meant by scripted. Yeah.
I said I don't care. I'll talk to you about cooking. I don't give a. I just want to know, who are you? I'll figure you out.
Yeah.
I'll figure you out in a few hours.
Yeah, in 3 hours, you can't fake your way through a conversation like this.
No, I'll find you.
Yeah.
I'll find you.
Reports indicated that Harris's team preferred a shorter, more structured interview format rather than Rogan's typical extended conversation. Rogan's podcast is widely known for its free-flowing structure, minimal interruption, limited time constraints, and direct engagement. Attempting to compress that environment into a shorter, highly controlled segment would fundamentally change the show's dynamic. Rogan argues that voters notice when campaigns request tighter controls. In today's media landscape, audiences often interpret format preferences as reflections of confidence. Extended dialogue can expose nuance, uncertainty, or complexity, which can either strengthen or weaken public perception. Rogan believes that declining such opportunities can fuel speculation rather than silence it.
What are you trying to do?
Right.
Like, you could close that border. Trump closed that border in a day.
Amazing.
In a day. You could say, I hate what's going on with ICE, and I don't like it either. I don't like this thing of, like, taking people. And here's the thing. Well, they should have done it the right way. Yeah, okay. But if you're poor and you live in a third world country, that's not an available option. Okay, what is an available option is this one administration over 4 years is encouraging people to go through.
Yeah.
Not only are they encouraging you to go through, there's Red Cross stops along the way. They give you maps. They tell you how to do it. They're funding people getting in. They're paying for air flights.
Yeah.
They're flying people in. They're moving people into swing states. They're getting them on Medicare.
Rogan has also said he would have asked Harris direct questions about border policy and immigration enforcement, subjects that sparked national debate. He emphasizes that his approach would have focused on timelines, measurable outcomes, and policy reasoning rather than rhetoric. Immigration remains one of the most polarizing issues in modern American politics, drawing criticism and defense from across the spectrum. Rogan argues that long-form dialogue would have allowed for detailed explanation rather than brief sound bites. In his view, open conversation encourages clarity. Whether one agrees or disagrees with policy decisions, Rogan believes voters value transparency over scripted messaging. He concludes that recent political episodes reflect a broader tension between image management and unscripted engagement. Ultimately, he suggests public trust grows when leaders appear willing to step into open dialogue rather than avoid it. And that, he says, is where modern politics stands at a crossroads. If you found this breakdown compelling, make sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.